Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Same Old Arsenal. This is an instant reaction. This is a vibes pod. This is, look at me, I'm an absolute mess. I've had to put an additional light on to mask the redness in my face. Thank you very much for everyone who's joining us on the chat. Please pop your questions in. Thank you very much, as always, for joining us. We're all over the place right now. I've got to tell you, Amanda and I spoke at half time. I 1-0 down. Are you still with me? Amanda, you still with me?
I am. Can you hear me?
Hello? Yeah. I think I was just having some.
Do
you know what? Even the internet is going crazy. Yeah, I can hear you. It's absolutely fine. Even the internet is losing its mind right now. I don't even know where to start. Amanda and I spoke at half time and we both said, we're not doing the podcast. We're not going to do this. I was walking to the local Tesco to deposit some of my cat's recyclable cat food. I'd had enough. I was like, there is no justice in this world. The world is conspiring against us again. And Amanda, you said, no, not doing it. I'm so fuming. And here we are. 1 hour later from all 50, 60, 55 minutes later from that conversation. And we are live. Give me some initial thoughts. How are you feeling?
I've just had a really weird day. I just have had a really weird day. I need to tell you that how this all transpired, right? So my initial thoughts are, I cannot believe we're sitting here discussing a win. However, the whole way through the game, I kept saying to Carl, we are not scoring. Pope had the most incredible game. Everything we did wasn't coming off. We will get into the penalty debacle. I know everyone's going to want to talk about it. I'm still fuming about that. I haven't had a chance to even enjoy the fact that, we've won this game. And I will. But I need to tell you that about 2 minutes before we scored, I kept saying to Carl, we're not going to score, we're not going to score. And 2 minutes before I went, I think we're going to score now. I don't know what made me do it, Chris. I don't know. And then when we scored, I went, now we're going to go and win it. And I honestly don't know what happened because I was negative right up to that minute, thinking we're done. I'm going to be fuming. Now I'm going to do a podcast about ranting. And the weirdest thing is I predicted 2-1 last week. I don't know what's going on. I felt like I'm a bit psychic today because I promise you, Carl will tell you the whole way through the game, I was adamant. I was like, you don't take your chances. You don't win games. Pope is turning into Buffon, whatever his name is.
Buffon.
Buffon, I know I spelt it wrong. And I just feel like, and my last tweet before I came on the pod was justice. Because I'm telling you now, if that was any other striker in the land, we know. But let's go into it. Look, welcome everybody to the show. This was not planned. We literally went, we're going live now, so we've got nothing planned. We're just going to talk about this whole bloody thing that I cannot believe. And the fact that Gabriel got the goal after everything that's happened to him 2 seasons ago. So just to jump back a bit, I was on BBC Radio Newcastle on Friday evening with the same people that I'm always on with. Bless them. They always ask me to come on when it's Arsenal play at St James's. Always have a good chat. And they said something, and I said, look, after the debacle 2 years ago with Gabriel, there's always going to be this tastiness now. There is. And the fact that he got the winning goal, Christopher, what? I don't know what we've seen. I honestly, we're now 3 points behind Liverpool? I don't even know. 2 points behind Liverpool. But people were writing off the league yesterday, and I was going mental about this. I did a whole poll on that I'll show you in a minute. How do I feel? I don't know. It's too soon. We should have had an hour.
No, because I've got to have my dinner.
No, that's right.
Right. So let's kick it off then. We'll start off from the beginning of the game. Team news comes out. I think pretty much it was a team news that I was surprised with Mosquera, but Arteta explained that at the beginning. Saliba, not quite fully fit, so I get that. Yep. And then I was surprised at Trossard as well. And let's not dwell too much on the negatives today, but I didn't think Trossard was amazing. I'd be surprised if he's back in the team for West Ham, because I just think it didn't quite work. Eze played in that central position, which is obviously his favoured position, instead of Ødegaard. And clearly we got an Arteta who was saying, do you know what? You talked last week about the handbrake. You clearly got an Arteta saying, do you know what? Let's go for it today. I think it was the right kind of setup. I think so I saw somebody say that Trossard gives a little bit more technical security. I'm not sure about that personally. I mean, yes, he's good on the ball. He doesn't lose the ball as much, but I just feel like we needed to stress the Newcastle right backs a little bit more than we actually did. But broadly speaking, were you happy with the team? And then were you happy with that first 10 minutes in which we dominated? And I thought Eze was a big part of that.
So obviously we've all been discussing, you went on the pod last week, I kept saying he's got to take the handbrake off, we've got it, what a waste it was for the first 45 minutes against City, thank God we salvaged a point, we should have won it, blah 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 blah. And then obviously he comes out in his press conference and obviously everyone's talking about handbrakes. It's not only us that have said it, probably the whole of social media have said he needs to take that off. However, during the week when I was discussing, and I do work with some Arsenal fans now, which is interesting because that's never happened to me in my life. Needless to say, I don't agree with one of them, bless him, but he's entitled to his opinion, but he's wrong. The only thing we do agree on is Trossard is a super impact sub. He's not a starter, a little bit like Martinelli, I suppose. And I was actually thinking that if he does go with those three, I can sort of understand it. However, looking at Newcastle, and no disrespect, I thought they were pretty average. They weren't. Then I don't really want to say this, but they're not much without Isaac, are they? So if he'd have gone with it, I wouldn't have been annoyed. But during the game, I probably would have got annoyed, realizing that Newcastle are pretty poor. And I don't want to disrespect Newcastle, but that's how I felt. So when he did what he did, and my dad's here. That is my dad. Say hello to my dad, everybody. When he did, hello, Papa Guna. When he did what he did, and we saw Eze, I was delighted. I was like, yes, creativity. But then when I saw Trossard, I was like, I'd have rather had Martinelli to start. But I trust in Arteta. I believe he knows what he's doing. I don't believe, going back to City, and I needed to say this, that he ever thought Pep would park a bus. So I think that's why he changed it at half time, even though Madueke was injured. I don't know what to think, what to feel. This is literally minutes after. All I was so excited to see Eze because of the creativity that he brings. And I love him, absolutely love him. Was you okay with the team? Was you thinking, thank God we are doing this now?
Yeah, I thought it was a decent team. Again, not too sure on the Trossard thing, but let's not dwell on it. And that opening exchanges within the first 15 minutes up to that penalty shout, which we're going to talk about now, I thought we bossed it. We created chances. Eze had a good shot. The Nick Pope tipped around the post. I thought
Can we
Eze
just go back a sec? Sorry,
4.
because I think you and I agree on this, that foul on Saka in the first minute. Does anybody else think it's a yellow card? Because I do. Now, Carl is adamant it wasn't. He thinks it's just a foul, and he gave a free kick. But I think that's a yellow card. And does anyone think he didn't give it because it was 1 minute and 19 seconds? Or did you not think it was a yellow, Chris?
I thought it was a yellow. I think you can't scissor down players, and I think it kind of set the tone for what we were going to see from Jared Gillett today. Let's just remind ourselves that this is a Liverpool fan. This is a guy who has refed 4 out of 6 of Arsenal's, or been involved in 4 out of 6 of Arsenal's games this season already. And frankly, I don't want to see him again.
No.
And after what happened in that first 15 minutes, it was on 14 minutes, a ball over the top. No, sorry, it was Jacob Murphy mistake. Gyökeres pounces onto it. He gets a touch on the ball. Pope does it. Takes it beyond Pope. Pope touches the ball. Yes, he does. And it's a penalty. It's a penalty. And the question is whether it's a red card or not. I will cite last weekend. Bryan Mbeumo was clean through on goal. He took the ball beyond Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper. Sanchez got a touch of the ball after when Mbeumo had touched it. But the referee and PGMOL decided, it rightly, in my opinion, that has impinged Mbeumo's opportunity to take the ball beyond the keeper and put Manchester United 1 up. This is exactly the same scenario. Regardless of whether Pope touches the ball or not, if he does not impede Victor Gyökeres, Gyökeres is taking it beyond him, and he's probably going to try and touch that ball in. That was a penalty, Stonewall, and it was a red card. And yet again, we have to get frustrated. Although, Amanda, can you just keep it to like a minute or two of frustrations? Because let's keep this to a fun vibes pod.
No,
and then
I'm not.
move on to the rest of it.
Yeah,
But for
it's
me,
all right.
it's
I'm not
close.
going. I've ranted so much on social media that at that point I sort of stopped watching. I sort of sat there and I tweeted and went, I've watched this for over 50 years. I never wanted VAR in the first place. It's ruining everything. Forget the fact that I don't care what any rival fan says. If that was Raya doing that, I'd be going, Raya, what have you taken him out for? It would be a Stonewall penalty for another side. They'd take the penalty, they would score. My fear would Raya would be sent off. So at that moment, as I said, Carl and I watch it together. We have very, very differing views on a lot. We are 1,000,000% in agreement with this. I keep saying to me, you sure that, because now I'm starting to doubt because rival fans were saying to me, you got the ball. I keep watching it, Chris.
We're not being gaslit into this. I'm sorry.
No, I'm
by
not. I
rival
felt
fans.
like I was being gaslit about an hour later or whatever it was before we scored. I was like, maybe I have got this wrong. I've literally gone on social media and said there's a conspiracy. I'm done. Because it's ruining football for me. It's just ruining it. But I will not be gaslit into this because I have never seen more of a penalty than that. And as they called the VAR, I thought they were calling for it to see if the goalkeeper should be sent off. So for me, I'm looking at Saka holding the ball, going, "Oh, Saka's going to take this penalty." There was never any doubt in my mind, never, that it was about the penalty. I thought it was about the goalkeeper being sent off. So at that moment, when Carl went, I think they're reviewing the penalty, I went, don't be ridiculous. It's a Stonewall penalty. We don't even need to discuss it. The rest is history. And you're right, Phil Macker. That's how angry I was. I said the player should walk off. I'm done. Done with it all. Because I honestly am for anyone that's new that maybe is not an Arsenal fan on this, I'm a very fair fan. If that was Salah, Haaland, Richarlison, anyone for Chelsea, anyone, I'll be sitting there going, that's a penalty. I don't work in a way a lot of football fans do and they're biased. I'm really not like that. And if that wasn't a penalty, Christopher, you know I would be coming on here arguing with you, saying, I'm sorry, you're wrong. You're all wrong. I am one of the fairest fans you'll meet. And I'm telling you now, that is a penalty. That's not been given. So he gives the penalty. He's then called to the screen. You know the minute he's called, Chris, it's done. We know that. However, he spent about 4 hours at the screen. Now, I thought that any decision is clear and obvious. It's obviously not clear and obvious because he's looking at it at least 10 or 12 times, right? And I'm sitting there going, well, just not give it because we know what's going to happen. I can't be bothered with you looking at a screen. I know what's going to happen here. You know, you are obviously doubting yourself because you wouldn't be watching it this much, 2 or 3 times. I only had to watch it twice. I don't understand. So all I would say is this. It's a Stonewall penalty. On my part, my opinions, it's a Stonewall penalty. Goalkeeper was lucky to be on the pitch. Gyökeres was going to score. Gyökeres does not go down. He does not dive. I don't care what anyone says. I'm arguing with everybody on social media. I'm sorry. Yes, enough.
Yeah, let's park it, Amanda, because like we could just spend half the podcast talking about that because Arsenal dominated. Like that was on 14 minutes, but Trossard hit the post on 25. Calafiori couldn't direct something on 26 minutes. Trossard hits the post. Pope makes a brilliant save from Eze just a minute later. Arsenal get a block. Eze free kick inside the area on 28 minutes. 29 minutes. Eze denied again. You've got Pope on 32 minutes, saving from Saka. And then we get that innocuous ball, and poor old Mosquera, who hasn't put a foot wrong this season, shanks the ball out for a corner. And Newcastle go and score that goal from it. So let's just talk about the Newcastle goal first. Do you put any blame on anyone in particular for that? Because for me, I can't be having Gabriel going down and saying that was a foul. There was barely any contact.
No, it wasn't a foul.
For me, it's the goal. The mistake was by Mosquera, but you still got the opportunity to right that wrong because they reset. And I just think we didn't deal with that defending very well, to be honest with you.
No, we didn't, and it's a shame on Mosquera really because he has been playing well, but that was a bit reckless. We shouldn't be giving corners away. However, again, about 5 minutes before I tweeted saying we've had 43 chances, we know what's going to happen. It's just so Arsenal. All of this today is so Arsenal. What can I say? I just sat there and went, well, I wasn't even surprised. They were so average. I think they were shocked they scored, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Just to go on, finish what you're going to say, because then I'm going to use some stats.
Yeah. No, you do the stats. Go on.
Well, this shows how dominant we were. And I know possession isn't everything, but Arsenal had 63.9% possession to Newcastle's 36.1. Now, some of that is game state. If Newcastle score, we've seen this game for the last 2 seasons. Newcastle score first. They sit in a tight block, make it difficult for us. Man City did this last weekend. Arsenal had 20 attempts at goal, 7 on target, 7 off target, 6 blocked. We had 3 clear-cut chances, 12 corners. Nick Pope made 5 saves, which is that's a decent day's work for a goalkeeper. But this was a dominant Arsenal performance that did not get what it deserved in the first half and was doubly punished because we should have at least had a penalty. But Newcastle are a good team defensively. And so personally, when I got back from the recycle place in Tesco, I sat down and I was slumped for that second half because in the first half, I was fuming and I was shouting and I lost my voice more in the first half.
Yeah.
The second half just felt like deja vu for the last 2 seasons, because this is exactly how it's panned out for the last 2 seasons. And as you said, it's really interesting that you said, I want to get your views. I want you to talk a little bit more about that, because that point up until we scored, were there any standout Arsenal players? Was there any moments that you thought, we're in this at all?
No, not until the moment, for some reason, something in my head clicked and went, we're going to score. Although Carl was pretty positive the whole way through. He was saying, we should win this, we could win this, and I'm like, I'm done. I sort of became like, what's that word? Like, I can't be bothered with any of it anymore, because I'm always, as I said to him, if we lost and we deserve to lose, I hold my hands up. So we had a bad day at the office. There's obviously something missing, but I in life I can't deal with unjusts. I can't deal with it. My brain can't. I can't have it. So of course when we were talking at half time, I wanted to hear what Redknapp and Ferdinand said, because I was convinced they were both going to say. Ferdinand didn't, Redknapp did. And Gary Neville, I don't care what anyone says, I really don't. If that was a United player, I would have heard about it for 45 minutes. And what he did do, he did it quietly. He went, yeah, Arsenal should have had a penalty. Anyway, moving on. No. That's not how you commentate. I'm sorry. He should be going into it and the reasons why that fans feel like this, because it happens to all clubs, Christopher. I know that, but it just feels like we are refereed differently. So no, I didn't think that. Do I think we had a standout player? Well, I think Pope would probably be given man of the match, I would think. However, I do feel Eze. I'm not sure on Saliba at the moment what the situation is. Because
I think it's a difficult one, because I think the game state in that second half was basically Newcastle saying back 5, deep block, Arsenal can't break us down, we've got the best defence in the league, and that's kind of how that most of it played out. The dominance in possession was quite significant for Arsenal in that second half. Like, there was at one point, I think they called up that in the second half we were on something like 82% possession. It was a familiar story for us, and I think that's why I thought to myself, this is going to be a case of same old. But I tell you what was different. And it was different last weekend as well. Mikel Arteta has finally got the fuck yous in him. Excuse my French. If anybody of you are offended in the chat, please feel free to give me a good rollicking. But the fuck yous in him are, he's saying, he's looking and saying, we need a goal. So on comes, like, he took Saka off. Obviously, Saka could only do 70 minutes because he's trying to manage his load. Fine for Martinelli. He's brought on Marino for Calafiori, so that's an attacking move. He's then brought on Erdegaard as well for Zubimendi. So that's another attacking mood and move. And effectively, we were playing with Martin Erdegaard as the quarterback for the last, 15 minutes of the game.
He went with the back three. So when he took off, I've lost count, but when he took off Calafiore, was it he put Skelly in midfield? You saw what the coach said to Skelly. This is your moment. He nearly actually did have a good chance to score. Because the thing is, he's got it now. He's got his squad depth. There's no arguments. He went for it, and that is exactly what happens. But we do need to say something here. What is going on with the sub scoring? This is how many matches have we had where subs are coming on and scoring? Now,
well, hold on, we'll get that. We'll get to that.
Right,
You want to talk about? I want to just talk about that build up to the Marino goal then, because this was a Newcastle team that they know how to defend. They've seen this before, and we've seen this before. But I think Arsenal's overloading by going for those attacking players. Sorry, I said it was on 75 minutes. It was actually on 82 minutes. So for the last sort of 8 minutes of normal time, and we knew that there would be a lot of injury time because of the injury to Livramento. So I knew that there would be a fair bit of injury time, and it came up as 8 minutes. But Newcastle dropped into we're going defensive now. They swapped in 67 minutes. Waltemada came off for Asula. He's that's a like for like. But Gordon coming off of Trippier, Alanga for Murphy was their sort of power play, and honestly, it was just them. That move was, we're going to sit in and use the rapid pace of Alanga, but we just controlled and dominated Newcastle. We just couldn't find the breakthrough until we could. And Amanda, talk to me about that goal, because it was a fantastic ball from Declan Rice, wasn't it? I was really impressed. I didn't think his corners were amazing until obviously we delivered the. Actually, it was from the other side that we delivered the goal, but. That ball from Declan Rice was fantastic, and I've got to say it. Like we've all got our question. We've all had our questions around starting Marino from the start. He's not quite a creative player, but what he is a big game, big goal merchant. He did it for Liverpool against Liverpool last season at home. He scored for Spain in World Cup semi-finals. This is a big game goal scorer. He's good in the air, and it was a fantastic goal and a really good flick to just. Do you know what? At that stage, Amanda, I was just pleased. I was just like, fine. If this ends up 1-1, at least it's not another one of those god-awful 1-0 defeats where we've got the same narratives. But tonight, the narratives are very different. So talk to me about your thoughts about that first goal, Declan's ball, Marino, talk to me about Marino as well.
So when Marino was coming on, I was like, I have to be honest. I'm always honest. I'm an honest person. I went, that's not what we need. It's not what we need. But Carl went, well, he is an attacking midfielder. I'm like, yeah, Marino, when you need to score a goal, forgetting what he did for us last season. Because I was so all over the place. No, I'm always honest. I am. I was so all over the place thinking, we'd be lucky to get a point here. But you know what? What a beautiful header. I mean, seriously, what a header by him. And then you're going, as I said, a couple of minutes before, I just had this urge over me that we're going to score, which I've not thought. How did I feel? I felt like Arteta is like becoming the manager of super subs, isn't he? Whatever he's changing, he's working. It really is. It's a shame against City that we didn't get the win, but I don't know, Chris. I honestly thought, Marino, really? But then when I saw him go for it, and I thought, right, I'm really proud of them. Up to that point, I was like, my head dropped because I was so angry, right? I became very like, I've had enough. I'm done. I'm done. I just can't be bothered anymore. I'm going to go to football. We'll be in 5th place and we'll just enjoy the matches. Some will win, some will lose. It's just not going to happen. I can't watch this anymore with this frigging VAR. I just can't do it. It's ruining it. I'm not a new
Come back to me, Amanda. Sorry. You're disappearing up into the mire that is VAR. We're talking about that Marino goal. And I'm just
the
watching
Marino
it
goal was just who actually assisted it, because I don't even know.
So I'm just looking at it now. So it's Declan Rice on a corner. He does a short corner to Eze, and then there is a ball back to Rice, and he swings it in, and Marino flicks it. Very, very impressive. It's a really impressive corner routine, actually. So it's Rice slide rule just to Eze, which is on the edge of the box, just a pass, just a ground pass. Eze back to Eze to Trossard. I think Trossard then to Rice. He floats the ball in. Really good whip on it. That is a really, really difficult thing to do on the move.
Now,
And then Marino's movement is just superb.
In the first half, when the Saka corners weren't working, I kept saying to Carl, why doesn't he go short? Why don't we try something different? They're not working. And that's what they did there. So it was that moment. Well, obviously, I thought it was going to happen 2 minutes before anyway. But that moment was when I realised we're going to win this now. That was it for me. There was no other team in it. You know, if we're 1-0 up and a team comes 1-1 against us, for me, there's no other team going to win it but us. So what you're saying about Mourinho is right. And I think that he needs so much credit for everything, because last week Arteta got absolutely lambasted by everybody, the media, the fans, for playing that 3. He brings on Mourinho today, knowing what Mourinho can do up front, and he does it. And they all wanted it desperately. And I've just seen a quote by Saka saying, I'll try and find it again. Sorry. It was something like, these things keep happening to us, but we got what we deserved in the end. And I think that although we had to go through hell with the penalty, the non-penalty, it may be that spurred them on, because they didn't give up. I gave up. I gave up with everything.
Yeah.
I was just up. I wasn't annoyed with Arsenal at all. I just wasn't annoyed with our boys. They came out, they took the handbrake off. They didn't play boring football. I really enjoyed it, and it would have been different. However, what did you think when he brought Mourinho on then?
I could understand it because of who he was bringing off. He was bringing off Calafiori, so he's bringing on off a left back, and he's effectively saying, I want to stick another midfielder in there, and Marino's good in the air. So it makes total sense. So I was perfectly fine with it in that instance, and obviously it's made the difference. So very, very happy. We're 1-1, and then 1 minute later, heart in mouth moment, Gabriel with the handball. How did you feel about that? Because personally, I thought they're going to give it. The way that today has gone with Jared Gillett, not giving us a penalty, with not booking Joe Linton, with basically being there were little bits like, you know, giving Calafiori a bollocking for taking a towel and saying, well, you're not allowed to use that towel because it's not your towel. Pathetic. Jurriën Timber telling Jurriën Timber to walk 5 yards back, and yet at 1-1 I saw on 2 separate occasions Kieran Trippier walk about 10-15 yards forward whilst taking a throw in. But of course, one rule for them, one rule for us. So I was convinced. It was very interesting because Gary Neville in commentary said, no, it's just a block tackle, you can't have that. And I thought to myself, they'll absolutely do it. And they went to VAR and they showed the replay, and it wasn't a block tackle, but I think Gabriel just he wins the ball, and it 2 players come together, the ball then sprays up and hits his arm. To me, I thought they're going to give this. They're going to absolutely give it. We're going to lose 2-1. And all of that justice that we thought that we would have got from that Marino goal is going to be completely undone, and it will be VAR intervening again. What about you?
Yeah, that moment. I actually was laughing. I was laughing, like a nervous laugh, like going, oh my God, here we go. It's just going to give it, because that's our day. That is totally and utterly our day. Yeah. And when they didn't, I was even more convinced we're going to go and win it. And I always say this, and I say this till I'm blue in the face. I promise you, Chris, I say it all the time. When a team wastes time, when they go down for no reason, when things happen and you get 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, we always do it. We always do it because it's justice. Now, did you see Arteta ask the fourth official how long? And he went like this to it. And I said, oh, to Carl, it's 8 minutes, obviously. He knew. We had the players to do it. I can't think of the word. Sorry, I am an emotional wreck, as John said in the thing. I'm never good straight after the whistle. We had the players to do it. We had the momentum was with us. And when they didn't give that VAR for that handball, which wasn't a handball, we were off. And oh my God, it was just, I was actually out of the room because I couldn't cope. and Cole jumps up and goes,
Are you talking about the goal or before
yes.
the goal?
So the
Or...
final goal, I've seen it, but
Hold on. Before the final goal
Go
was
on.
that moment you talked about where, and I thought that was where our chat, I thought that was possibly the last chance. On 90 minutes and 5 seconds, Erdegaard slits a beautiful ball into Lewis Skelly, and
Yeah.
all he's got to do is get
Yeah.
it across. And I think it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was either Erdegaard or it
You're
was
correct.
Martinelli. There was somebody in the
Yeah,
box,
yeah. Or
just
Timber.
and if
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Timber, and if he slides it through and he taps it in, then we go on and win that game, or Lewis Skelly has an impact. So I thought the game had gone at that point. But to be honest with you, even then I was just, screw it. What the hell? Take 1-1. It's better than last season. We're a point up on that game last season, so we move on. What about you?
No. Really weirdly, at that point, I was like, I always say it. You give us you time waste, we will score in extra time. I always say it. I said this extra 8 minutes is going to count. There's only one team going to be in it. I truly believed it, which was weird considering I was negative right up to about 2 minutes before the goal. However, what happened next, as I said, I was out the room. So when Cole jumped up and says, "We've won it," I didn't believe him for a split second.
Did you
I
think
don't
he
know
was just
why.
trying to
No, I don't
banter
think he
you a
would.
little
No,
bit?
no, I don't think he would have done something as in like to tease me and like, "Oh no, we haven't." But I think my brain went, I mean, you are effing joking. I went and I came running in. And then obviously they're showing the replay. So I didn't see it live. I think I was just plutzing. I was seeing to Rocky the dog. I can't remember at that moment. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, what was it, 97, 96 minutes, 97, which was completely fine. He'd given 8 minutes. And I just thought to myself, and that second I went, justice. That is justice because we didn't go there and sit behind the ball. We didn't do side to side. We didn't do, boring football. It was probably our best first half, I would say, this season, really. I wasn't there against Forest. But I joked when we were 1-0 down. I said to Carl, "We'll score 6 against West Ham. We'll be 5 points behind, or whatever it is we were." I said, "And we'll go and win 6 games, and then we start it all up again, and we'll be 2 points behind, or whatever it is, and it's going to be the same old Arsenal, as this podcast is called." But I honestly believed that there was only a team that was going to win it, and I believed it was going to be us. So when he did that, it was like a dream come true. It was incredible. And yeah, justice. And I think that's how the players are feeling by what I'm seeing on social media, because I think you have to be fair. I honestly, if that had happened to Haaland, what happened to Gyökeres, I'll be going, how's that not a penalty? I would be like that. But I think when that goal went in, Chris, and I wasn't worried then because normally I'd go, oh my God, they're going to go down. I predicted 2-1. Don't ask. This is twice I've got predictions right. No idea how. But how did you feel? So at 1-1,
Oh, it's amazing.
Did you think like me at 1-1, or was you thinking just take the point?
No, I was take the point. I was like, I think we're just going to end up taking the point.
Right.
It's fine. Really good ball in from Martin Odegaard. One of the things that I will say, and I think our free kick, I think our corners were interesting today because a lot of them were going to the back post.
Yeah.
But this one was put straight into the perfect areas, and it's no surprise that it's an in-swinger from the left. Martin Odegaard, nice high flighted ball, and Gabriel. I mean, that man. There's a reason that man is in my fantasy football team, and it's because he gets big goals like that, and he gets goals like that. He's a real threat. It's a fantastic header, but again, I don't want to colour or discolour the goal itself. I think Nick Pope was pretty poor actually on the actual goal. I'm just watching it again because Pope just seems to be in no man land. You either come for it as a keeper and you rise above everyone else, because you've got to remember, as a goalkeeper, you've got an extra hand, so you can make yourself 11 foot tall if you're 6'3", and you jump as well. You can get to these balls even if it's through a crowded set of players. And I think Pope, he doesn't really do anything. So he made a lot of good saves today. But I actually think if he's standing on his goal line, he's just batting that away. I'm glad he wasn't standing on his goal line. Arteta's glad, because I'm now just watching how he was just wheeling away. We're all glad. And we're now in a position where we've done to Liverpool what they did to us what they seemingly have been doing to us basically every week, it seems, where they're getting these late goals. Yesterday, Chiesa scores on 87 minutes. I was in Birmingham just kind of with friends doing some like cultural bits and bobs. And we were having some early food, And I just remember looking at my phone and seeing 1-0 Palace, 5 minutes to go, and then 1-1 Chiesa, 87 minutes. And I was like, well, there's only one way this is going to go now, isn't it?
We all thought
And
that.
so to then see Eddie Nketiah bag that goal this weekend, I don't know about you, but it's possibly been the best weekend for as long as I can remember. Chelsea lost, Tottenham dropped points, Liverpool lost, Arsenal won, Manchester United lost, Man City, but they were always going to beat Burnley. It was almost like the perfect weekend for us. And like, honestly, I'm going to rewatch Match of the Day. I'm going to go down and cook some dinner in a minute, and I'm going to rewatch
Match of the Day tonight.
I'm going to rewatch everything.
Can I go back to the Palace game, because I was going to do this anyway, Gentel? Can we have a shout out for Eddie? So what's happened is I'm not watching the game, and it's exactly what everyone's doing. And at 1-0, I went, those effing C, I'm done. Da-na-na. Like, here we go. There can't be one Arsenal fan out there that didn't think Liverpool were going to get a second. And then all of a sudden, I'm on Twitter watching it, I think, or I think Carl said, or someone went, Eddie, and I was like, oh my God. And then we watched it, and it was incredible. It was incredible. But you're still sitting there going, Chris, aren't you? Everyone's losing, Tottenham irrelevant. They get a point against Wolves, whoopee woo. At the end of the day, you're going, it means nothing if we can't beat Newcastle. All of this excitement means nothing. I'm also very good friends with Rebecca Lowe on NBC. She's a mad Crystal Palace fan, so I was messaging her saying, Eddie, fantastic. Please God by us today. And I don't know what it is about Crystal Palace. I mean, I don't support another team, but blimey, do I love that club. The fact they came out at Liverpool against Liverpool and gave them a game, they did not sit back. They went for it, and Palace deserved that. I watched it all on Match of the Day last night, and they fully deserved that, except they did not discuss the Salah handball, which is bizarre because it looks like he handballs it. But anyway, I'm not going into that. I'm not going to bring any negative, and we haven't got long. So with all that happening yesterday, you do sit there and go, if Arsenal win, this has got to be a Carlsberg weekend of football, innit? I mean, it really is. And now we play, obviously, Olympiacos on Wednesday, and then we got West Ham on Saturday. It's just, I think that, I don't know, I need to, what's that word, like process everything that's happened today and enjoy watching Match of the Day, because I will enjoy watching it until they get to the stuff at the end when they start talking and they all go, no, it wasn't a penalty. I'll get all right watching that. But 2-1, I'm sorry, but our boys fully deserved it. And also I want to just do a big shout out. There's over 1,000 of you watching this. Hello from everyone at the Same Old Arsenal. We really appreciate you watching with us. We're going to do a couple of questions, aren't we, Chris, before we all have to run off, because this was not planned. We were going later. I feel justice for our boys because they played really, really well. I thought Raya was good today. He went long at times when he needed to go long, and that's what I want from him. I would like to just say, someone talked about man of the match, and I wanted to give this player a shout out. John Rose said Timber. I thought Timber was superb today. I absolutely did. But who was your man of the match, Chris?
Interesting one. I think Eze really dictated the game for us. And because he got involved in the big moments, like he was involved in the build up to the equaliser, he had some really, really good shots. I thought he played really well in that central position. He did fade a little bit in the second half. I thought Saka was good, but again, he faded in the second half. I think Timber was really good, actually. I mean, he's becoming such a consistent, brilliant big game player. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. To answer a quick question, which is what Karen's asked in the chat, which was, can you let me know when the last time Arsenal won at St James's Park? I can indeed. It was the 7th of May 2023. That was Arsenal 2, Newcastle 0. Goals from Erdegaard and an old goal from Fabian Schär. So that was that was a 4:30 kickoff. I didn't actually watch that game because I was in France at the time, drinking lots and lots of wine. But yeah, that was the last time we beat them. We've done it again today, albeit we had to concede a goal. But hey, at least we've managed to bag ourselves another 3 points, and at least we've got rid of a bit of a hoodoo as well. Do you want to do a couple of questions and then we'll get out of here?
Yeah. Let's do it, because it's really nice that you're all with us, giving us questions. Right, Chris? I'll put them up. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Emerson said, Amanda, 10 goals from subs this season so far. Come on, what a stat that is. It just feels like every time you should bring a
Brilliant.
sub on after 5 minutes, I think.
But
Right.
that's how you impact games as a manager,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like how do
Yeah.
once you send them out there, you can do the training and all of that sort of stuff. But the way in which you impact games is through your substitutions. Arteta got it right last weekend, and he's got it right today. And I think we need to give some flowers to him.
Absolutely. Now, I did a poll yesterday to say if we lost today, people are saying the league's over, which is absolutely not. And that was before the Liverpool game. And we were talking about Gyökeres as well. So John Rowe wants to know, is the form of Gyökeres worrying? No, 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 and no. Not for me. Not after 5 minutes. I'll talk to you in 6 months. But Chris, what do you think?
I actually think he had a good game today. Like, let's bear in mind, he ran the channels well. There was one option where he took a touch, and then I think he drove into the box. I think he just needed to release the ball a little bit quicker. Things aren't falling to him. But what I did notice today, which I think was interesting, is that we went long to him, and we're going long to him to wrestle with his strikers, with his centre halves. And I think maybe he didn't win the battle as much. But when you're going long from the keeper, your percentage chance of winning those duels is probably going to be a lot less because you're the one that's facing up to goal. The defender is the one that's probably got a 60-70% chance of winning the ball. I thought Gyökeres held the line well. I thought he linked up quite well. I think him and Eze seem to be developing a good relationship. I think he likes playing with Eze. But yeah, I'm not worried about Gyökeres. Gyökeres was bought to be and other people have said this on national TV and stuff, he was bought to be our flat track bully. I don't care if Gyökeres isn't amazing in these big games. I care that he gets 1 goal, 2 goals against the Leeds, the West Hams, the Evertons, the Fulhams. That's what I want.
People are saying he was okay today, not too bad. I thought it was all right. Listen, Leeds said Gyökeres had a good game today in the right areas. His timing is off. Once he's fit, he'll be in the goals. I think once he's settled, we do need to give a shout out for Eze. I mean, is he going to be like a superstar for us? Did anyone watch the interview beforehand while he was sitting in the gardens with one of the commentator? He's so honoured to be at Arsenal. It is wonderful. Right, so let's see what this question is. How long since we felt like this after a game? I don't know. This is a long. I don't know because I don't know a game that's had so much. It's been like a drama from start to finish, isn't it?
Yeah, this was an emotionally draining one. Like we were at the Real Madrid game, but we controlled that game. We played brilliantly, and we were never behind. We were brilliant throughout in both ties, actually. So that was an amazing game. But in terms of the emotional drain, in terms of the late drama-ness of it, all of that sort of stuff, that is, I can't. The first thing that pops into my head was like Bournemouth from 2 seasons ago. What I'm interested is what we're going to get. I'll be interested to see what we get from the media narrative and when we get Arsenal celebrate too much, Arsenal are too emotional, because Liverpool can do it, but are we going to get that from the media today? Or are they going to give us our flowers and say, do you know what? That's a tough place to go. Newcastle are a good football team. They are a strong defensive unit, and Arsenal picked up. They snatched a win, and fair play.
There was quite a few journalists who felt that was a penalty. So I think that you won't get that. And of course, if you're 1-0 down and 2 up and you go 2 points behind the leaders, there's not going to be any of that narrative. What the narrative is going to be is about the penalty. Listen, penalty is all, what's that word? Opinion based. It's not fact. Whether 10 million Arsenal fans, and there was one on my timeline that didn't think it was a penalty. I kept arguing with him. But at the end of the day, and this is what I was going to say, Leeds Gunner, mentality of champions are the ones that come from behind and score in the last seconds when nothing is going for you, and nothing was going for us. Everything we did was not coming off. We hit the post. He saved everything. We needed a bit of luck. We were trying to make the luck. You needed rubber the green, and we got that. We got that with the Declan Rice corner.
Do you know what I've just realised, because I've just been reading Marino's comments. Marino used to play for Newcastle. There was none of this not celebrating stuff, was it? When he got his equaliser, he was up there and celebrating, which I think is good. I don't care if ex-Arsenal players score. Well, I do care if they score against us, but if they celebrate, I couldn't really give a shit. It doesn't bother me. But yeah, Marino, ex Geordie player, coming back to bite them, and it's delicious. Should we do one more?
I don't know if we've got. Let's have a look.
Well, Phil's just said, how can we expect to understand the game we love when they just make stuff up? I don't think we want to relitigate that, do we, Amanda? We've
No,
kind
we're
of
not
already
going to.
talked about
Thank you,
some of
Phil,
that.
darling. And we should have done that at the beginning. We know how we all
Yeah.
feel. We're going to end this on a high because there's no other way to end it. Because this is what it's like supporting your football team in situations like this. Yes, of course, and we will. I was going to mention the fact that the former academy player Billy Viger, rest in peace, we won it for him. You know, it's such an awful thing to happen. And thank you for reminding me. My brain was a little bit all over the place. Great win. Feel so happy. Fab pod as always. Thank you.
Thank you
And
very much.
I think what we think, Chris, is that we don't know what to think at the moment. If this would have been Monday evening, we'd have been calmer. We'd have read all, watched all the interviews, watched Match of the Day again, spoken on other points. But unfortunately, we didn't have that time because we want to go live now, give you, a fan reaction because we're both season ticket holders. We both love the Arsenal, like all of you do in the chat room. So we just literally went live with no show prep, nothing. I've got nothing in my book for today, nothing at all. All I know is that I went 2-0 against Port Vale and I went 2-1 against Newcastle. What the hell? James went 3-0 Port Vale, 2-0 today. Mervyn went 3-1 Port Vale and 1-0 today. So we all were going for wins. We all felt a little bit more positive, I suppose, because Isaac went off to Liverpool. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. All I know is we'll be back after West Ham. We've got Olympiacos first. Shall we do some predictions? I think that's what we need to do.
Yeah, I think Olympiacos will be 2-0. I think we're going to beat West Ham. I think we're going to beat them 2-0. 2-2-0s.
So you're going 2-0 and West Ham. Tell us in the chat room what you think. I'm going to go a little bit higher, and I never do this. I'm going 4-1 against West Ham, and I'm going 1-0, okay, against Olympiacos. James will be back with us. He couldn't make this week. We will be back after West Ham. Anything else, Chris, before we say goodbye?
Well, normally this just shows how off the cuff we've been. Normally we agree who's going to do the ending music. So let's just do it live now whilst people are watching.
You're going to do the end of music, and I'm going to do my normal thing. Thanks to everybody, and thank you for all your lovely comments. Please subscribe to us. Please go on all our social medias and apologise on mine because I've been swearing a lot. So that is nothing to do with the same old Arsenal. That's me only. Thank you for joining us. Listen, this is why we love football. I hated it, then loved it. And remember, always Arsenal. Enjoy your Sunday.